Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's Mike and Blaine. I don't know what's happening with our thing, but I'm Mike Milan. That's also known as Cashflow Mike. That's Blaine Birch, my friend, my partner, and he's the CEO and founder of Dry Run, the best cash flow forecasting software on the planet. Yeah, what's up, man? We used to be able to see each other, so now I'm all confused.
I don't know. Riverside changed something and now the video. It's funny because we used to want that. It's like, oh, we just want to show the video, but we're on the side. And now we're so used to that, it only shows the video. So people can't watch us singing along and dancing like idiots. So
yeah, that's bullshit.
They're
Yeah,
lost.
now I'm just doing it for nobody, just me, I guess.
I know, but I still do. I can't help
I
it.
still do too, because I don't know if it's on TV or not. Who knows?
Well, there you go. Yeah, we're superstars.
Right on. All right, so this is Mike and Blaine. This is Business, Beer, and BS. And what we do is we talk a little bit about what's happening in trending America, right? So if you are new, you got to realize that we pick our topics minutes before this thing kicks off, right? Minutes before.
It's
so
also
there's no
trending across
we
the
are
world.
trending. Yeah, we're doing trending things right now. So
but we're trending things across the world because I'm not in America. So, hey.
Oh, that's true. We're international. This is an international podcast.
International podcast, exactly. At least this time of year is international. So.
Yeah. So basically, you're getting an unprepared show. We don't have really a good setup, and thanks for listening.
But it's gonna be fun, and we always start off with some beer because we always like to feature some usually some local craft beer, and we have some beer sponsors we're going to thank. So, what are you drinking today?
You know what? It is first of all, it is a nod to the neighborhood, right? And in connection to the nobody told me, little nod to our history.
Yeah.
Nobody told me I could get a fictional beer at a San Antonio grocery store. Right. So,
okay.
First of all, I got to give you some background. Neighbor Breger, neighbor Thomas, neighbor Pat, we're all in this group chat, right? Because that's how we figure out what's happening right here in the neighborhood. And we named it King of the Hill, right? After the cartoon, because all of us kind of have a characteristic. And I think at one point in time, I either posted it on Facebook. Courtney did a cartoon version of me, Pat, Breger, and Thomas. I'll post it again because it's funny, right? So it looks like the King of the Hill characters. Well, Hank Hill and his gang all drink a specific beer, and it's called Alamo beer. And it's supposed to mimic the culture and the values of Hank Hill, which is he's kind of vanilla, he's kind of plain. He's just kind of, regular basic, and he drinks Alamo, right? So Alamo Brewing Company
That's so awesome.
In San Antonio has created a beer, a version of King of the Hills. Where's that? Here's the logo. Look, the King of the Hill version, the brand of Alamo beer. So this is a nod to the neighborhood, and but nobody told me I could get it.
And I absolutely love that the can is so basic. There's like very little extra information. It looks right off of the TV show. That's just awesome. I love it. I want that. I want that beer now. So I'm going to keep an eye out and see if it makes it up my way. So this week, and this is a little bit of a nod to your topic. And as we get into the topic, you'll see, I just felt like, it kind of seems to go with it. And it is called The Chronic. And it is West Coast IPA, quite a heavy West Coast IPA, actually. But it's from the Establishment Brewing Company in Calgary. And one of my favorite breweries in Alberta. These guys always have awesome beer. If you're down Calgary way, go check out the Establishment. They actually have pretty good burgers there too. So
I feel like I've seen that one before. And the reason I say that is because what went into my mind is something I know I've said before. So either I'm on an alternate timeline, that's what deja vu is, or I've said this before, which is I wonder if there's a connection to the record album or the album by Dr. Dre called The Chronic.
It very well could be. I'm not sure where, if that's actually where it comes from, or it's more of a general. But because it's called The Chronic, I'm thinking probably it is. Now this one, I've never had this. I don't think I've had this beer before. But the establishment, all their cans are this black and white, heavily stylized geometric patterns. They're beautiful cans. But I love their branding because you walk into the store and you'll just see all these black cans with white graphics. They all look quite different, but you immediately recognize who they are. And I really like that. I think they do some really cool branding with that.
Now, see, I think Dr. Dre was talking about the weed. That's what I think he was referring to, not your beer.
Yeah. Not my beer, but it's a delicious, strong beer. And you know what? That's our topic today of life. Well, you never know, right? Yeah, some people they like the other kind of chronic, I guess. So
Yeah, maybe.
there we go.
Maybe so. So, all right. So, hey, we got beer sponsors. Very cool thing. I mean, neighbor Pat's just right down the road here. He always brings us beer. He's always part of it. So I'm going to shout out neighbor Pat right off the bat.
Yeah, and the CPA Larry Weinstein, best CPA in Houston, Texas. So if you are looking for a CPA, you go talk with Larry. He's going to get you all set up and everything all figured out.
Hey, let me pile on with Larry. Larry's got a new book out there. If you're a banker listening to this, right? This is about growing your portfolio and connecting the business owners. It's called The Banker's Edge. Got a new book out. Look, even got a picture of the cash flow cowboy in the back of it, right? So check him out.
Nice.
But
Nice
go check
hat,
out
man. That's
his new book. I think it's on Amazon called The Banker's Edge. You can also, I think, get a free digital copy at, I think it's Banker's Edge. You go there, you put in your email address, use the code CFM for Cashflow Mike, and he'll give you a free digital copy of it.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Larry. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Then we got Karen Hairston up in Michigan. She's also got a book, a best-selling book, as a matter of fact. Larry's isn't best-selling yet. It just came out it might not even be on Amazon yet. I mean, Larry's, but Karen Hairston's got a best-selling book called Stop Growing Broke, Start Growing Profits. She is the person you need to talk to if you're struggling, if you're feeling like, man, I just never have enough money. Contact Karen up in Michigan, Karen Hairston. She is the person you need to connect with. She will straighten out your business. And I'll tell you what, this is one of the things I don't talk about her enough. Process queen. All right. She knows and develops and can see processes and help you diagram where your bottlenecks are, where the problems are. So if you're having any type of issues like that, she's the person you need to talk to, and she'll help you line it out.
And Devin, biggest LSU fan on the planet, also works up at LSU, but also world traveler because he was up our way in Alberta not too long ago, and I got see some cool pictures from him. Thanks again, Devin, much appreciated. And man, you're I'm gonna be saying like world traveler more than Netflix superstar, which is what you've been for the last while since you had your clip on Netflix.
There you go. And lastly, I think is Brother Trey, man. He was our first subscriber. Once he heard one of these, as soon as he heard one version of our thing, he goes, I'm in. So he is locked in as our first subscriber. I mean, he is all about family. He is one of the best dads I've seen, in my lifetime. So Brother Trey, appreciate you, man. Thanks for subscribing.
And I'm also still going to thank neighbor Pat this week because I love the story he told last week about somebody recognizing neighbor Pat. It's so great. It's such an awesome story.
That's embarrassing. People recognize him and they don't recognize us.
This is true. Hey, we got a celebrity on our show, neighbor Pat.
I go all kinds of places. Nobody says, hey, there goes Cashflow Mike. But no, they know neighbor Pat.
But they know neighbor Pat. Yeah. It's like a Wilson on Home Improvement. Remember, he used to come up to here with the fence, and you just see the top of his head. Yeah.
All right. So, hey,
all right.
This was a cool one, right? So, I mean, remember, we just come up with the topics, and if you have a topic, you're like, well, I want to see these guys talk about this, we got an email address now too, right?
beer@mikeandblaine.com.
Yeah. beer@mikeandblaine.com. That's probably the easiest email address I've ever had right there.
Yeah. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And don't forget, we got a jingle. Should I play before or after you intro the topic?
Go ahead, and then I'll tell them how I came up with it. There you go.
Okay, here we go.
No, nobody told me life move this fast. Some lessons hit and they sure do last. Business, family, dreams gone wild. We all just figuring it out with a smile. It's Mike and Blaine, let's talk real life.
Nice. There we go. Beauty.
Yeah, the thing is, I never know which one you're going to choose, so it's like a surprise to me. I'm like, well, I don't know. I send you both of them right off the bat, and say you pick. Right.
Sometimes it's almost random because they're always all good. But this is the one I picked this week. I like it. It's great.
All right. So the whole thing about that is that when we come up with a topic, or I come up with a topic, I'll say, give me a short jingle, right? Here's what I want to talk about. Give me a short 15-second jingle. I throw it into this app called Suno, Suno. Tell it how, we want to do a 90s sitcom theme combined with R&B, and that's what it comes up with every week. So it's kind of cool, though. It's a good way. It's a neat way to introduce a topic.
Let's start throwing some curveballs and do 90s sitcom theme, but then in country or like some. I'm just curious what it'll come up with because I'm just curious actually, how far we can push the 90s sitcom theme.
All right, there we go. All right, we'll try some different things with it. But here's the thing: I keep running across. Remember how we've talked in the past about all these videos that are oddly satisfying?
Yes.
Remember just the plastic and the doing things and pressure washing and that type of deal. Well, I keep running across these videos where somebody says, hey, nobody told me blah. And there's this one guy, he says, you mean to tell me for 40 years I could have been doing blah, 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 blah. And then he goes into some hack where he shows the video where he learned it online, and then he tries it himself, and it either works or doesn't work. And most of the time it works. And that's his shtick, right? His line is, you mean to tell me for 40 years I could have been doing this, which is a variation of nobody told me. Well, that happens throughout our whole life, right? You learn things that you've been doing one way for however long, then all of a sudden you learn something real quick because nobody had clued you in, right, on how things happen, right? What I also thought was cool is that the original name of this show was Nobody Told Me by Mike and Blaine.
It was, going back 200 and I don't remember when we changed the name, but it was probably 200 episodes ago. So but that's what it was. Yeah,
it was too long. We're like, oh, that's too long to search for. Yeah. Well, very cool. Yeah. So, all right. So that's where I wanted to start today, was like going, there are things in business, there are things in life, there are things just everywhere that nobody told you. And if you just knew sooner, it might have been directional or life-changing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the business ones always fall close to my heart, right? Because those are oftentimes the big movers. There's a million little things that you learn along the way in life. There's probably some big things too, but the business ones are the ones that seem to be hard lessons, I think, a lot of times. I don't know if you feel the same way, but those are sometimes the biggest ones. I'm like, man, you learned the hard way, right?
Now there's two things exactly I can talk about that for business for me. Nobody told me that success gets more complicated, right? When things start to happen in your favor, other things become more complicated, right? You got bigger decisions. You take bigger risk. There's more responsibility. You're on people's radar that you were never on before, and it just all of a sudden things are happening at a faster rate. And, I heard Vanilla Ice talk about that in an interview. I don't know. It was like a snippet of an interview where he was talking about, when I wrote that song, and he did 680 million copies of that record.
Wow.
Right? Ice Baby.
Yeah.
And he says, I had no idea. I thought I could just be, Mr. Motocross guy, do the song every once in a while. And I still ride motocross and I still do my things. And I'm still, what's his name? Rob Van Winkle or whatever his name is. I think that's it. He goes, but as soon as the song hit, everything changed and I didn't change with it. I tried to maintain my life and it was gone. That whole life
Yeah.
was gone, right? So everything became more complicated in his life, and it took him getting out of the business and, to be able to reclaim who he actually thought he was. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, and I've seen him interviewed fairly recently, and I found it so fascinating. He's such a happy guy, and I guess he would be because he's just made a boatload of money off this one song. But I really like someone that just seems really just happy, like satisfied with how life has gone, and I thought that was really kind of cool.
Yeah, but I think so. He had that show, right? He might still have it where he remodels houses or something like that. And I think he really likes that work. That he likes, doing it, and I do too. But I just never thought about making a show about it, and I don't have a business that I could do that in. But I'm like going, damn, if you could do something you like remodel a house where it's so satisfying, you go into a mess and it comes out as a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what you're doing rather than the fame that you chase from the song, by being on stage and all the other stuff that comes with that. I can see why he's happier now. He wasn't happy then. He hated it. He said he hated every single time he performed the song. Hated it.
I can see that. You get probably really tired of it and like real quick, especially because it's not like in a way, it's not a timeless song. Like that one would be hard to play over and over and over again.
No, dude, that one's timeless. I got to disagree on that because you can play it anytime. I can play that. Now, singing it, he goes back to a bad time when he didn't like his life.
Oh, okay.
But for you and I, right? He didn't like the way he got hustled around. He didn't like where he couldn't make any decisions. He didn't like, the constant travel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But the song, I think, is timeless. I think it is extended even beyond me to my kids and probably to my grandkids now. They'll know the song somewhat.
Yeah. Oh, I grin every time. Like if I hear the song, I almost laugh.
Love the song.
You can't help not like. But it doesn't seem like the kind of song that you would want to perform over and over again for 40 years either. But maybe I don't know. But yeah.
Hey, the other thing that I didn't know, nobody tells you this about small business ownership, that it feels personal. Think about it. You look at any other business in the world, you can walk in and out of, a place, you either make a sale or you don't. But, when employees leave or customers, quit, or bad reviews happen, nobody tells you that hurts. I mean, you take it personally. You're like, you try to tell yourself, no, it's just about the business. There's something wrong with my business. No, it's me. I think you hurt my feelings.
Yeah, no, it's hard because you can't not have such a personal connection, such an in-depth connection to your business. It's just how it goes. So you're going to get hit with that stuff.
All right. So when somebody cancels a subscription, does it kind of hurt your feelings?
Oh yeah. It's like a knife in the, and it's, and sometimes it sucks even worse. It's like a double whammy because of course our support or like, they're always asking like, hey, what, can we get some information why? And the ones that hurt the most is like, it kind of hurts you. And then it's because their business is failing or struggling so mightily that they need to save every nickel. And that makes it even doubly worse because you're like, oh man. But on the other side, oh boy, is it fun when people come back.
Yeah.
And we get that quite regularly. Just suddenly someone comes back and like, no, I'm ready to go. And, they come back. And that also is like the flip side is it's not just a customer. You feel really good about that.
All right. Let me take it a different direction then. How often do you cancel stuff and you don't even think about it?
Oh man. Yeah. It's true. I'll cancel the second I'm like, this isn't making sense for us or for the business. It's gone, or personally as well. The thing that I got to say about small business and then doing a tech startup, the things that nobody told me and you don't know is you don't really know the risk until you're really far down the path. Because people say, oh, business is risky. But nobody ever told me what the numbers are. Nobody told me half of businesses will die within their first 5 years, 30% in their first year. nobody told me that, like a tech startup, an innovation startup, your success rate is around 8%. Like 92% are not going to make it, aren't going to be successful. You don't hear that. All you hear is it's all the events and all the people and all the, it's like, oh, this is great. You should do it. You know, it's like you're standing next to the cliff and all your friends are going, do it, you know, like jump off, you know, that's what okay, you know, it's like peer pressure to do it. And then later on you find out, holy smokes, this is a lot harder. It doesn't seem hard. It seems simple at the start. And then you find out how hard it is, right? And nobody tells you. And frankly, I know as entrepreneurs, we wouldn't listen anyway, do it anyway.
Well, I mean, here's what I've always thought about entrepreneurship. And, you know, when I was over at Trinity University teaching, I would tell people this. I said, listen, because they're in the entrepreneurship program, right? You probably have an interest or an inkling or a calling. There's something
Yep.
about it. Here's what I'm going to tell you. The decision you have to make is my idea good enough to succeed? The decision you have to make is, do I want to work on my dream or somebody else's dream? By getting a job, right?
Yep.
And here's what I'm going to tell you. Even though you're working your dream job by start being an entrepreneur, it's still going to feel like work. It's still going to feel like a job. It doesn't matter which path you take. You just got to figure out which one you want.
Yeah. Well, and the buck stops with you as an entrepreneur. Like honestly, I was meeting with a friend of mine about a week ago, and he just sort of made a comment. He's like, you don't make you make more as an employee oftentimes than you do as the owner. And on top of it, you carry just this boatload of risk. And this is a guy with dozens of employees, right? So it is just so hard. And right now it's really hard for businesses right now because the business we're in, we hear from them all the time. It is really hard out there. But as hard as it is, as risky as it is, as brutal as it is, oftentimes as penalizing as it is, I wouldn't do anything else. And that's the truth with a lot of entrepreneurs. I don't know what it is. I wouldn't do anything else. I couldn't work for someone else now.
Well, here's what I think the difference is, with you and I, not between you and I, with you and I, is that I have more of a desire to have a purpose than I do to have security, financial freedom, financial security. I want a purpose. And I know when I'm building my own business, there is a purpose there, and that drives me more than the financial reward.
Absolutely. That's why we do it I don't think there's a lot of entrepreneurs that stay entrepreneurs, last entrepreneurs. I don't know if there's a bunch ever that are entrepreneurs where their focus is to make money. There's people that have hustles and stuff like that, but entrepreneurs, to me, they want to build something. And they're builders, right? And that's the thing to me is as hard as it is, as sometimes as how it's like a friend of mine. It pops in my head every once in a while. He just walked up to me one time and he said, some days as an entrepreneur, you don't get kicked in the teeth. Yeah, that's about right. But it's this quest to build something. It's this quest to have, like you said, you have purpose. I was watching I think it was Clarkson's Farm, actually, like Jeremy Clarkson's. Actually, I haven't seen that show. It's fantastic. And it's as an entrepreneur, it's funny and all that, but you feel this bit of an entrepreneur side to it as well. But he's a farmer in this show. Like he has a farm going that. And he talks about it's a way of life. And it was amazing how suddenly it was like, that's what entrepreneurship is. It's a way of life. You have this purpose, you have this desire to build something, and it's so much more important than the dollars. And you hope eventually everything lines up and you get rewarded for it, knowing full well there's a good chance you won't.
Yeah, when you said some days you don't get kicked in the teeth, so far today is that day. For me, it's been
Yep.
that. Here's what I mean by that. This new app I rolled out, it's been a year and a half in the making. Well, over the last month to 3 months, whatever, I went public with it. Well, that's when you really find out where all your misses are, right? As soon as you introduce it, somebody else will go, well, this didn't work, or I pushed this button and it did something I didn't expect, or it would be better if it did that, where there's always 2 more features they want.
Yep.
Well, today was the first day I didn't get an email about, hey, this could be, or the app did this and I expected that, or it didn't work. Today was that first day. I got one email all day, one. And the person had mapped the account to the wrong place. It was not an app problem. It was a user problem. And I celebrated.
That is just, you just explained so much how entrepreneurship is. And it is that some days you don't get kicked in the teeth, or it might've been punched in the face. I can't remember. It was one of the two, but it's true. And it's funny how things come in bunches, because there seems like there's times for us where it's just like, you feel like at times like, oh, we made it. Okay, good. Everything's awesome. And it goes for a while and you're like, oh yeah, okay, this is what it feels like and everything. And then it's like, it's not you get kicked in the teeth once. It's like all month. That's just what happens, right? Like, it's like June for us was just repeated. And it's just, but the thing that just having been an entrepreneur for a long time, I always, like, in my mind, I always say, just don't get too high and don't get too low, because when things are going well, when you have deal after deal coming, it feels like it's never going to end. And then when things slow down and you have some rough times, you feel like it's never going to end. And truthfully, a few months down the road, you look back and you can't really remember either.
Yeah.
Because it's
Exactly
just,
right.
it just starts to even out, right?
All right. So when I was at Finnegraph, we came up with a thing called Finnegraph Day, right? And it was in July sometime. I can't remember the exact date now because I haven't been there in almost a decade. But Finnegraph Day was this, and it was the core group of people that had been there from the beginning.
Mhm.
When we all agreed that this product could work and make it.
Yeah.
It wasn't the launch date. It wasn't, attached to something
Yep.
like that. It's when we all agreed, oh my God, we got something. Let's run with it.
Yeah. It's there's one sort of day that stands out for me, and it was late last summer. It was just over or under a year ago. Because we did a pivot and we basically relaunched, but then when we relaunched, you're still getting all this information in and you're still refining things. And then there was a day where I just went, we're ready to close deals. I remember it. Like, we're ready to close deals. And it was like turning on a light switch.
Do you remember the date?
Well, it was last August. I don't know the exact date. It was last August. I know it was the last 2 weeks of August last year. And I said, we're ready to go. We're going to start closing deals. And I will tell you that September 1, it was like turning on a light switch. And it just started to flow. And so then you get spoiled, right? And so I was spoiled up till, you get to year end this year, and then we got to June, and then it was just like a punch in the face every day for a month. But, but I think July's better.
Yeah, but I think you should celebrate that day. It's one of these things that we did, and we attached a theme to the company, right? Because as you come in, there's culture that's built, and then, hey, we celebrate dry run day, or we celebrate whatever you want to call it. But let me show you on the very first, it was around the very first Finnegraph Day, we got everybody that was employed on that day. You didn't get them after that. You only got them employed on that day. So when you walked in, you go, oh, that's one of those guys, right? A nameplate. Check this out.
Oh, nice.
Right. So everybody that was employed on that day got one of these, this crystal nameplate, right?
Nice.
Do you know what this is? This symbol that's on the side of it.
Not.
Wait.
No, the middle part, is that the logo?
That's Finagraph logo's in the middle,
Okay.
but what's the outside part? Do you recognize it?
It looks familiar, but I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know what it
All
is.
right.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the TV show Lost?
Oh yeah, I did, but so many years ago, I don't remember anything
but
about it.
for us, there were so many threads in the show Lost, and that's the way we felt. Like we had crashed and we were trying to work our way out of whatever crash that we were in. And Finagraph Day was that celebration that we had made it off. Now, in the show Lost, what you don't, if you haven't seen it, I won't tell you the ending, but they found out they were dead. So don't listen to that part. Bleep that part out on the final edit.
You know what? That was a pretty old show. If you haven't watched it by now.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what's funny is I don't even remember that. When you say that, I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure I watched the show, but I might have faded before the end of it though, too, I guess.
All right. So that symbol is the Dharma Initiative, which was the government entity that did all the psychological exams and stuff like that on the or the psychological experiments and stuff like that on the island.
Okay.
They occupied the island, but they had this plane crash on the other side of the island, and it's just craziness. It's actually an awesome show. You make me want to watch it again.
It sounds kind of interesting. I might have to. I'll have to think about because it is kind of fun to have a day like that where, and maybe to me it's like we do the September long weekend because it's that's when things like I can say it, I could sense it, I could feel it, but that doesn't mean anything. It's when the market responds. And it just starts going, and I can look back and go, it was after September long weekend. It just started going, just like I said, a light switch turned on.
No, but you're thinking about it the wrong way. You said, you can't say that anything's going to happen afterwards. You said you can sense it, you can feel it. Every holiday is based around a feeling. Mother's Day, Father's Day, even Halloween, it doesn't matter. You name one, there's a feeling attached to a holiday. And that's
true.
What you're celebrating, right? Is an emotion.
That's true.
Something you can connect with. I don't care if it's Pride Month. I don't care if it's Black History Month. I don't care if it's any of these things. There is a feeling attached to it.
Were you the one that I was telling about May long weekend?
No. Tell me.
I was telling, it was an American. I remember I was talking about the in May, there's May long weekend. They always talk about May long weekend in Canada. You can plant your flowers after May long weekend because they're probably more likely to survive and not get a frost. And it's May long weekend is usually this first weekend where it's like you're sitting outside having a beer kind of idea, barbecue, like that kind of thing. And it actually has a name. I think it's Victoria Day weekend or something. Is it Victoria Day? Someone's gonna just kick my ass over this.
Yeah, you can't ask me. I'm in Texas.
But nobody calls it that. Nobody calls it Victoria Day weekend. They call it May long weekend. And this American that I was talking with, I just said something about May long weekend. He goes, well, that's descriptive. And I never thought of it that way before in my life. That is just like, he just looked at it as it's just like such a boring name. And I'm like, I think it actually has a holiday attached to it, but for whatever reason, nobody calls it that. There's literally a beer from the establishment, or is it from it's one of the Alberta breweries. It's called May Long. It's just for May long weekend. I think it is the establishment, actually.
Yeah, I guess you had to be there.
I guess I just thought it was kind of interesting that it has got this name that everybody like just renamed it,
But it's true though. Even when you describe May long weekend, there's an emotion that you feel to it. I don't know it because I've never experienced that emotion.
Well, the reason I jumped to, I guess, the May long weekend thing is because I'm like, is there an emotion around that one? Because it's such a generic named weekend. And immediately you picture being outside, barbecue, having a beer. And that's why like the establishment has a beer called May Long, because everybody knows it's this, I think establishment, just, it's that feeling. being outside, barbecue, whatever. For you guys, it's probably when the heat starts to go down. For us, it's when the warmth starts to show up, right? And it's in some years.
Oh, dude. All right, so we've been very lucky. It's still been in the 90s, but we haven't hit those 100 plus for extended days. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but we don't have a word for when the weather breaks like that.
Yeah, this is just, but it's around that holiday. And I think that you're talking about the feeling, and it feels like it's not summer has kicked off, but it feels a little bit like spring it's not even really spring, it's late, but it feels almost like the first weekend of summer somehow, even though it's not quite when you would consider it summer. So so there is definitely a feeling. It's interesting because you're right. There's not a lot of holidays that don't have something kind of attached to it as far as a feeling goes, right?
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't participate, like Arbor Day,
I don't think I've even heard of that.
I don't even think we celebrate that anymore. But it was about planting trees and all that. And when I was a kid, they give us saplings and we go out and do it. And to me, it's like, I don't have to do schoolwork. So my feeling was, I get a break, kinda, and I'm helping the earth, kinda.
Yeah.
So even that, there's still a feeling attached if you've ever celebrated a holiday. I've never celebrated May long, so I don't have that feeling.
So it doesn't mean anything to you, but it definitely does to Canadians, even though we renamed it as an entire nation. Renamed a holiday is so bizarre, but it's
yeah. So all right, so when we look at businesses, when we look at professionalism, you remember that story that they called the Great Resignation? It was sometime like after COVID or around COVID when people were quitting their jobs.
Oh, yes.
Remember, some people even called it quiet quitting and those
quiet quitting. Yeah.
But it was the Great Resignation. People were thinking, hey, this is a great time to get out of this schmuckness and into something else.
Yeah.
Well, here's what nobody told them. That when you change jobs, you just find out that you went to a new company with the same problems, with the same, stress, different logo. That's not what happened.
Yeah. And what's even worse is what followed not long after that is, businesses kind of like it's a bit of, it's not a depression, but it's like, oh boy, there's a scale back. And then on top of it, you got more automation and more bots, and jobs are suddenly more scarce than they were a number of years ago. Right. And, Heather and I were talking about this yesterday, and I don't remember how it came up, but there's I know it's down in the States and everything, but it's a very Canadian thing. It's like the grass is this really negative. The grass isn't always greener on the other side, or the idea that it's like everyone thinks the grass is greener. Yeah. But basically we were kind of like, yeah, sometimes it really is. Like it just is, right? Like sometimes it is greener. And and I think the reason we were talking about it is because so often we see Canadians they're very conservative, and they won't move, they won't change, they won't do something new. And they've got this, it's like the fear of the unknown, fear of change. And they've got it ingrained in them that the grass isn't greener over there. Like just, truthfully, sometimes it really is. It just simply is, right?
All you got to do is ask neighbor Pat. Say, neighbor Pat, what does your grass look like? And what does Mike's grass look like? He would tell you. He would tell you. You say, Mike, you got the best grass in the neighborhood. I know. Different pad, different things. So grass is greener on the other side of our neighbor's house. Definitely is. I can see it. He can see it. I can see it. Other people can see it.
We actually have green grass this year because we've had so much rain.
Now I think about that, and I'm going, what they don't see is the dollars, the time, the effort that it took to get there.
Yeah. And that's the fact of, it's funny because entrepreneurs, when they see other businesses, even as entrepreneurs, if a business looks really highly successful, it's easy to look at them and go, oh, they're just like, they're cruising and there's no problems. And then if you talk with the founders, it's never quite like that. There's always challenges, right? But from people that aren't entrepreneurs and they see business owners, it's even further from that. They just think every business owner is, I don't know, wildly successful. And it's like, well, the numbers don't play out for that.
Yeah, you know what's an interesting idea to think about? And this just hit me as you were talking. I've got a birthday coming up next month, and I'll be 56 years old. Think about this. Here's the thought that hit me while you were talking, that nobody told me that adults, 50s, 60s, maybe 80s, still have no idea what they're doing in a lot of cases.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's okay to say that. You're like, yeah, well, I mean, we just kind of figured out. We got to research this. We got to make a decision. We got to weigh risk. We got to, banter things back and forth. But there's no age that says, oh, here it is. Once you hit 40, you're good.
Yeah. No,
It doesn't stop.
I think as you get older, you get wisdom, and wisdom is having done a lot of dumb shit. And so at least, you know, a little, like you kind of know a little bit, like, I don't know what I'm doing here. It's probably not going to go well. Or, you know, or like you appreciate that. And there are learnings, of course, where you maybe dodge a few bullets here and there, but nothing gets easier. And I don't feel old. Like I look in the mirror and I look older than I feel. I don't feel any different than when I was 30.
Dude,
Unless I hurt my back. I do.
What you just described to me was experience is expensive. Nobody can give it to you.
Yeah.
It's expensive. You have to go through it. You have to pay the price of it, right?
Yeah. It's the difference between knowing and understanding. They always say that. It's like people can tell you stuff and yeah, you know it, but you don't understand it till you've been through the battle yourself.
You know, it's funny. So I got 3 adult children, right? All, mid 20s to 30, right? So 3 adult children, 1 teenager, but the 3 adult children, 2 of them have kids of their own. What I've learned from them is that, nobody told me that, friendship gets harder. And that's what I kept trying to tell them. I'm like, they would attach themselves to a high school friendship or a junior high friendship that would lead them down the wrong path. One person, Courtney says this all the time, one person in your life can change your life, good or bad. Just one.
Mm-hmm.
One bad decision, one whatever. Those are things that you only can experience. And now they're coming back around, right? So I was the best guy in the world up to like 12, maybe 14. Then I was probably the worst guy in the world from 14 to 20, maybe 24, somewhere in there. And now I'm coming back to be, Dad knows some stuff. And it's funny, and I've said it here on this podcast before. You ever heard me talk about the Mark Twain quote that he says about his dad?
Sure. Not sure. Yeah.
All right. Mark Twain is an American humorist, right? But Mark Twain said this. He goes, when I was 14, I thought my dad was the dumbest guy alive. Right. By the time I was 21, I was surprised how much he'd learned. Right. And that's so true. I kept telling myself, I said, I just got to wait until they get out there and see the world, and then they understand what I was trying to do. And and it's true, but nobody tells you that. Every family, every mother, every father. And you know what's funny about parenthood is that every first child has parents that never did it. You got people that are untrained, unexperienced, don't know what they're doing, and you're the product of that.
Yeah. I don't even know what to like. Sorry, there's a bug flying right in front of my face. I'm listening. I
know I probably got off topic. I mean, sometimes that happens, but it just hit me while you were talking. I'm like, oh my God, this is happening in my life right now. I'm getting ready to see my youngest daughter, and not youngest, my second to youngest daughter in Omaha next week. So I've been thinking a lot about dad, daughter, parenthood, grandfatherhood, all that type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm afraid of right now is that nobody tells you that your parents will eventually need you. Not vice versa, right? Because I'm thinking
Yep.
back to my parents and how they needed me near the end of their life.
Yeah. Like, I guess this is why I give kind of like, I don't have a lot of comment. We don't have kids, right? So I really honestly like can't relate to that. Greg, half the time, I think we act like we're freaking in college. Like we had never grew up. But we're very fortunate to have all of our parents around, all four, and they're healthy. But it's things have changed a bit for us, and we are, carrying always a little worry in that, because it shifts, because now we're a little worried about them because they're all in their 80s, and we want to make sure that they're okay. And it has been a shift. It's a strange kind of transition there, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Especially, I mean, the kid thing is unique. It is like sleep to me. You can't share sleep. You can't share a parenthood experience. You can't, you just can't. If you haven't done it, there's a gap in the experience. So, I mean, for you to say, hey, we've never had kids, so
you're on your own. You talk about it all day long.
And I'll tell you what, beer. I got 4 and I'm still a mile. Because I never know day to day, dude. I'm telling you what, if there's people in your life that feel slighted easily, it's your children. I can inadvertently say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. Courtney, sometimes before I answer the phone, she'll coach me. Don't say these things. Don't talk about these things, right? Because I'm the type of guy that early on as a parent, I would just blurt it out. I'm like, what is that? What are you doing here? Why are you doing that? And people would instantly shut down. People would revert. I mean, my children would revert back. They would do their own thing. They would, stop talking to me. They would box me out of their life. So now I'm trying to learn, or I have learned better, how to be more, inclusive of what they're thinking and more empathetic to what they're going through. It's hard, man. Nobody teaches you that. Nobody tells you that.
Yeah. There's not much in life that, you know what is funny, because probably 99% of these things someone did tell us at some point. For all the different things that we go through, you still have to learn it on your own. You have to experience so much of it. And it's kind of thinking back to business now. One of the things that's so important to me now, and I will say this to you, if you're a business owner out there, you're a founder out there, it's not even that I take advice. I will only consider taking advice from someone that's done it. Because more often than not, somebody that hasn't been through the grind of being an entrepreneur, the advice they give is just straight up wrong, or absolutely too simple, and that they're always really confident, but it doesn't mean that the advice is always wrong. But on the balance, it's been more often far off than another entrepreneur. So I always listen to people that have done it, and but this is the problem, is it's like all the information you have is like drinking from a fire hose. When you look back, you can say, yeah, somebody mentioned this to me. Somebody made this suggestion. Yeah, but you also got 1,000 other suggestions around the same time, some completely opposite. You can't pick out a lot of times which one is the right one until you have some experience. And like I always say, you trust your gut, or or you're talking with someone that has that experience, because you've got so much information. How do you pick out what is actually useful and prioritize it? So we probably do hear a lot. We just don't know it because we can't recognize it. There's so much. right? You just can't pull it out of the mess of information.
Yeah, because usually what you do is you hone in on something that connects with you right then. Oh, I'm doing that right now. They might have told me a whole story about what it was, and I picked one little piece and says that pertains to me right now. But then I missed the lesson, or I missed,
Yeah.
you know, I missed all 5 other things that have to happen before that, right? I just
Yeah.
took the one thing that was affecting me right then.
Well, and it's confirmation bias. Like you want
You're right.
to you want to be able to say that makes sense to me, and I can go. You want a simple answer. You want, but it doesn't mean it's right. It just isn't.
Yeah. What do you think is one thing you learned the hard way? Right? Nobody told you. You just learned it.
Oh my God. I'm just gonna. I'll think I'll focus in on business because I've got to. Again, you've got to take it from something big to something small, so I can actually pick something out. Because at my age, it's like, what haven't I learned that was not stupid? Like how many stupid things I've done over 50 years. Half a century of stupidity in some ways, and hopefully a few reasonably smart things along the way. But in business, I think I'm going to build a little bit on what I was saying is I took a lot of advice and considered it too much from people from just, there's 1,000 people. This isn't like a person. It's like, there's so much coming in, and listen too often to people that didn't maybe have the experience, or they had experience, but it was too far off. It was a little bit different realm or something. What I learned, and what we really try and focus on today, is the number one person that we listen to. Like, I will tell you, when they start talking, our ears are open, and as everybody wants to listen and to absorb it, not argue with it, but just learn from it, is your customer.
Mm.
Because early on, you're trying to find your customer. And so you should be listening to them. And when people actually spend their money with you, listen to them, learn from them. That was just the one thing, is that there's nothing that is 100% right ever, but you will be so much further ahead. We would have been so much further ahead if we had looked at who is our customer, who is having the most success, who's spending the money on us, and forget these people that say logically you should be doing this, and focus on your customer. You can't go wrong by focusing on your customer. That was a hard lesson to learn. We thought we were. We realized now we weren't to the level we needed to.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. Yeah. Probably the one for me is personal, right? It's a personal thing. I mean, I grew up, in a super poor family, young parents. I mean, it was like 19, 20-year-old parents, cash. In the 70s and 80s, the only thing I ever seen them use was cash. There was no debit cards. There was no credit cards. It was cash. So when I went to college, guess what they give college and college students in the late 80s, early 90s?
No, we all got credit cards. Yeah.
Yeah.
They gave them out like candy. Yeah.
Oh, my parents don't know shit, right? I mean, they're still podunk back in Illinois on the farm, and those type of things. But no, dude. I mean, so early on, I got into credit trouble because I didn't understand. I didn't understand, right? So as early 20s guy, I racked up some debt that took me some years to get out of. In 20s, I'm like, oh, damn, I'm not going to do that again. And if you ask any of my kids, they'll tell you all these rules I got established for credit for them on, not even buying a car with a car payment if you can't pay cash, but have 3 to 4 months in the bank that you don't touch of car payments because you don't want to lose your car. That type of stuff.
Yeah.
So to me, that was a hard lesson because nobody in my family could teach it because they didn't use credit. right? Grandparents didn't use it. Parents didn't use it. They just didn't use it, right? And so when it came time to give it to me, I had no experience with it. Of course, I think I'm smarter than they are. And it cost me. It cost me, a lot of money over a series of years and a lot of stress to overcome that in my 20s.
This goes into a conversation I've had with friends numerous times. I don't know if we've had this conversation, but one of the things that I think is an absolute blind spot in Canadian education, and I imagine it is in American education, I imagine it is in education across the globe, is they should have a class on finance, and it should start when you're in kindergarten, and you shouldn't not have a class in finance until you graduate high school, because people come out, having read a book that's a classic. Okay, good for you. Gym class, I climbed a rope. Good for you. They're turning out kids over and over again that don't know anything about finance. They don't know anything about building a budget. They don't know how credit works. They don't know how investing works. They don't know how paying off a mortgage works. They don't know anything. Imagine how much stronger our economies would be if people understood. But me being cynical is, the banks don't really like people to know. I'm throwing at the banks, but there's a lot of institutions that frankly don't really like people to know because they make a lot of money off of that. But I think it's an absolute gap, absolute painful gap. And boy, it should start day one and never end.
True. Yeah, I would agree with that. So that was a painful lesson for me, and nobody ever told me. And then it, got out of that and then got into business, and then it's bigger risk, it's bigger money, it's bigger decisions. And, and the reason I'm cash flow Mike is because of those continued bad decisions. Even if I made the other one that was bad, I made another one, right? A different one, because I didn't understand the level or the way businesses worked. Right. So never got in trouble, never filed bankruptcy, never did anything like that. But damn, did I lose sleep? Damn, did I stress out? Damn, did I...
Plenty of pain, plenty of pain. That's just how it is, right?
Yeah. So super cool, man. This is a good one. This was a good one. We talked about things that nobody tell you. If you got something that nobody's ever told you and you had to learn it the hard way, put it in the comments on this video. Right.
Yeah. And please like, subscribe, follow, tell your friends, and you can go to MikeBlaine.com, buy us a beer, and you'll be one of our beer sponsors, whether it's for one episode or you can buy 50 in a row, $5 an episode, and we'll talk about you. Best price in sponsorship on the planet.
There you go. Hey, another going, man. We're closing in on 250, right?
Yeah. Quarter century of episodes. That's pretty slick. That's pretty fun.
By the end of August, we will have 250 in.
We will. And I'm going to throw something out there. You and I have not talked about this. We are going to do something special for 250. It's going to be a whiskey episode.
Okay. Whiskey episode. Because
250, the whiskey episode.
This year is America's 250, and we're doing our 250 in the same year.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll get to 251. It's like, man, what are you guys doing at 250? We're at 251. And by the end of the year, we're going to be at, I don't know where, 275 or whatever it is. But we are going to do a whiskey episode, and who knows, maybe it'll be the beer plus whiskey episode. We had a couple go off the rails doing that before.
Yeah. Sometimes we don't even know what we're talking about at the end of it.
It's happened. You guys want to tune in for that one. 250, you're going to want to listen to it. There's a good chance it goes off the trolley tracks.
All right. So like, subscribe, tell your friends, go buy us a beer, buy some merch. I mean, do all that type of stuff. Help us out. Help us keep this thing going.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.